Hey there, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Okay, um, for those of you that have just come by, welcome. I'm sure that what draw your attention to my channel in this particular video is the title about the EG4. So let me clarify this real quick. I was putting together a system because I want to build a portable power station, and it was going to be based on that that split phase 6,000 kilowatt all-in-one inverter. For this power station. If you want to know more about the power station, it's going to be a 240 volt power station that you can just plug into your house and backfeed your house when your power goes out. Anyway, the EG4 6 kilowatt inverter, the all-in-one that they have, it's a split phase, low frequency inverter. Apparently, I suspect they're going to be discontinuing it. Sure sounded like it to me. I noticed that they took it off of the website, that particular model. The only thing they're selling were the refurbished ones. And I really wanted that 6K, so I went ahead and quickly ordered one of those refurbished ones for lack of a better selection, so that I could stick with the idea of using that particular inverter. I still need to order some batteries, but I did get the cart also. But those of you that are wondering or thinking about using that EG4 6 kilowatt inverter, you better look around, because I'm not sure you're going to be able to find them here pretty quick. And they didn't say anything about what they were going to replace it with. I know that they come out with new product lines all the time, but I'm surprised they would discontinue it. Anyway, I just thought I'd let you know about that. Also, I wanted to update you that I got this, and I figured out how I'm going to build this thing, because that's one of the things that I was looking at. Damn it, I pulled the scab off. I hate it when that happens. It makes a mess. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do on this whole unit is I'm going to actually build a separate cabinet that will just freestand. At the bottom will be my 3 batteries, and then above it will be the inverter facing this way. I'm going to have a couple of cords to be able to plug in, one male and one female, for in and out on the inverter, so that I can plug it in and use the charger, or I can plug it in on the output of the inverter into the house and actually backfeed the house. So that's going to be the whole setup completely right there. I'll have a hookup so I can hook up solar to it. But at this point, I don't think I'll even be doing the solar right away. Eventually I will. But right now, I've been looking at how I want to build this cart and how I want to attach it. So I thought I'd share this with you real quick, because I talked about using this particular cart, and I looked at a couple other ways. I even gave some serious thought, and I still may end up doing it, some serious thought to building a cart using 16-inch wheelbarrow wheels, 2 of them. 16-inch tires, pneumatic tires, would be perfect to be able to make your own 2-wheel battery cart. This is 13-inch wheels, and if you notice how it's sitting up on edge, it's not leaning against that door. It's standing freestanding upright. The wheels are right at the right point that they're touching the ground, and the end of the trailer is. So that means that I can easily take the top and tip it down without any problem. If I want to, I can tip it down and roll it around on all 4. And when I'm ready to use it, I can flip it up on end like that, so that everything is facing me just like it should be if it was mounted on the wall. I can take the cart off the back and then pivot this thing into place wherever I'm going to put it, against a wall somewhere, and I'd be good to go. So I'll be able to put it on the cart and take it off the cart pretty easily, is the way it's going to be, rather than attaching wheels to it permanently. If I get into where I'm hauling it around a lot, I may go back to the 16-inch wheels and just mount them onto the cabinet, so that I then would have wheels on it to be able to roll it around like a wheelbarrow. But we'll see. At this point, I think this will give me the capability to be able to move this thing around. And I think it's a much better solution because of the weight and the weight distribution that's going to be on this power station. I think the cart is going to work just fine for that sort of thing, so that if you don't want to go out and actually build your own cart, which is what I was talking about doing, you can just buy this and do the same thing. And probably you'll end up spending just a little bit more money to do it this way than it would be if you build your own cart. I would definitely be building it out of wood, since that's what I have. I don't have a welder, and I don't do much in the way of metal work, so I'm not going to be able to make a metal frame. But I can make a good solid frame to hold 500 pounds worth of electronics without any problem out of wood. And at the same time, be able to take it and strap it to that thing, so then I can make it mobile to move it around if I decide that's what I need to do. So anyway, I just give you guys some ideas about what to do with it. Now, am I going to move this thing around here? Probably not. I'll probably set it right over here, and that's probably where it's going to end up for good, because that's where my panel is for the power, the sub panel that comes into this building. And it's going to sit right there next to it. I can just take the plug in, plug it right into there, and I have power in the shop. I have one 30 amp breaker in the house that runs the whole shop. That's what it is on a 30 amp circuit. But there's nothing out here. The biggest thing I got out here is a window air conditioner, which is a 220 window air conditioner, 1.5 ton or something like that. Anyway, I run it out here, but I don't have to. The only thing I have to run out here is my 120 volt refrigerator and my 120 volt furnace, which is gas. So, but it takes a little bit of power to run the fan and stuff. So there's minimum amount of power going on out here, especially at night. And during the day, hopefully, once I get this thing going off grid, I am going to put some solar on it so that it can maintain itself without being plugged into the house. So this thing will always run off grid, theoretically. That's my plan. I may end up having to get another inverter, which means that I'll probably just buy a 12,000 watt inverter and put this, leave the 6 watt one in out here, take the other one and make another battery bank similar to this one but bigger for in the house, and find a place to set it, but be able to make it so I can actually load it up on the cart and move it somewhere if I want. Anyway, those are plans down the future, but temporarily, if the power goes out, I need power. I already have it in the shop because I'll be on off-grid power anyway. All I have to do to get power to the house is make sure I turn off the main, since the power is out anyway, turn it off so I don't backfeed to the grid, and then turn on that 30 amp breaker that comes out to the shop, and now the house is backfed from the power grid, from the power unit out here. So I'll be able to keep that power unit in the shop. I'm a little concerned about the noise, but we'll see. That's why I'll be glad to keep it on the wheels to begin with. We're going to see how noisy this thing is, and if there's ways to make it a little quieter or not. That's what I'll do. If I can't, then I may start looking at the idea of rolling it out the door and plugging it in and let it sit outside most of the time while it's running. So anyway, who knows where this is going to end up. Basically, I want my power system so that if I lose power, I can get by with the electrical power from that for a couple of days theoretically, or for long term if I get to break out the generator also. So I'll get all the details of all that right now. What you can expect is I'm going to build a freestanding cabinet that will house that inverter and 3 batteries. I'll be able to expand that to 6 batteries if I want in the design, or make a second one for the house. I don't know which way I'll end up going, but I may have a second unit. But we're off and running now. I'm committed. I got that. I got the inverter coming. As soon as I get some batteries, all I have to do then is just, actually, I had to be ready to go, because I don't need, hey there. She came by to say hi, Missy. She does that now and then. You got to give her attention for a little bit. Or maybe, if I'm lucky, she'll settle for a piece of rawhide. So, anyway, as I was saying, the trailer, I think it's going to work out real well. It's got me off and running. As soon as I get the batteries, I can probably put the system together. And a cord. I do have to buy a 50-foot power cord. And I'll just cut it in half and hook one up to the inside inlet to the input and one to the output. and it'll be ready to go. All I have to do then is roll it out onto my back deck. I could plug it directly into where the generator plugs in on the house, and plug the generator directly into the input on it. Just fire up the generator, and I can run the house off of the batteries and recharge the batteries from the generator by turning it on and off. And it'll sit on the back porch if I have to. Most of the time, if it's going to come back on in 10 or 12 hours type of thing, I can just leave it sit right here. The only time I would move it is if it needs to be hooked up to the whole house long-term wise. So most of the time it'll sit here, because recharging it is where I'm going to be in the challenge, because I'm going to have to move that generator, I think. And I'm going to have to bring the generator over here closer to this building so that I can run a cord from the generator and plug it in while that thing is inside here. So I think I'm going to have to either put an outside box out there for the generator. It's a 8750 Predator, so it's a fairly good size one. It'll put out 7,000 watts continuously. It'll run optimized at 6,000. I'm only going to ask it to give me 5,000 at any given point. So it's going to be well within the range. Annie, I got to let her in. It's going to be well in the range, though, of supporting the 6,000 watt, 15,000 watt power station. So this thing is just like if you went out and you bought 2 EcoFlows or 2 Bluettis, the biggest ones they had, and buy that hub so that you can take 2 of them and make a 240 hub, and then you plug that in. Do the same thing that I'm going to be doing with this. So instead of buying 2 of those things and moving all these parts separately to plug everything in, I'm just putting it all on one cart that I'll be able to use it as a 240 system, and it'll cost me a lot less, and it'll have more kilowatt hours than any of those systems that are out there, whether it's Mango, Bluetti, EcoFlow, any of them. I haven't seen any of them that'll have 15 kilowatt hours. And that mine will have. So 3 batteries, 5 server rack batteries, and it should give me plenty of power for this shop here. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to start putting this together. I think I'm now going to have to draw out my cabinet so I can start getting my dimensions, and I'm going to build a nice little cabinet for everything to sit in, and it'll be balanced in such a way so I'll be able to tip it on its back easily and move it around. That way I'll be able to attach it to that, and if that turns out to be too clumsy, I'll just make a little 2-wheel dolly myself with some 16-inch wheels instead and make something along that line. So, but we'll see. I think we'll be able to do something that really is going to make it work real well, make it real easy to be able to move it around. So that way you could even theoretically take this and roll it up into the back of a pickup truck and haul it off somewhere and use it somewhere else if you want, since it's all portable. So there aren't too many out there that'll give you that kind of horsepower, and yet be mobile enough to take it to on site somewhere if you need it to be able to run a whole outfit of some kind. So anyway, I think I'm rambling now. If you have any questions about any of this or any thoughts, let me know. The big news about this was the fact that I think the EG4 6K inverter, that thing, if it's discontinued, that's really going to be mind-boggling. I don't know what they're going to use to replace it, because a 6,000 watt inverter is a good size for being able to match up to a generator to run a house and be able to do everything. So anyway, we'll just have to see. Maybe then I can just figure out a new way if they end up coming up with something else. Or maybe this will be working, it'll work for me for 20 years and won't have to change anything. Like I said, I just want to have power when the power goes out, and I want my grid back as soon as I can get it so I can be comfortable again. So that's all this is about. I don't want to go off grid. I don't want to start cutting my power bill down with it or anything. I may later on say, hey, if I do this or that, it ain't much more investment, and I'll be able to do those things. But we'll see. We'll play that as we go along. I'll listen to what you guys suggest, and I start thinking about it. I see something on a video somewhere, and that starts our idea off to how to do this or that. But right now, I'm focused on making a power station. 15 kilowatt hours, 6 kilowatt of power, 48 volt. And I think that thing will actually, and it'll just plug into the house and backfeed it if the power goes out. Easy peasy. And hopefully also mobile. So anyway, I want to thank you for coming by. Any questions, any thoughts about any of this, or what you think about solar signature solar? What's going on with that EG4? Let me know if you've heard anything, because I haven't heard any more about that being discontinued. So it's only been in the last couple of days they actually took it off the website, because I was just about ready to pull the trigger and get one brand new when all of a sudden it wasn't on there anymore. So anyway, we'll get through this. We'll figure out something. Maybe actually this is going to end up being cheaper, because that refurbished one is definitely a lot cheaper than a new one would have been anyway. And since that's all that's available, that's what I'm going to go with. So questions, comments, I'd love to hear what you think. Any future ideas about what to do with this? You got any ideas of how to set up a simple steering mechanism so that while I'm pushing it, I can also steer it? I've been looking at a couple of different ideas about how to do that easily, because I'm going to have to be able to steer it as well as push it, and we're pushing like 400 or 500 pounds. Steering, you don't want to have to work too hard at that while you're working hard at pushing it too. So we'll see how it works when I get the weight on there, but I think it'll actually work very well. Also, the back wheels right now, the way those back axle is designed, it's designed to have the weight pressing straight down on it with the thing down on all four. When I lift it up, the way those wheels are, they could buckle under and bend on the braces that hold them in place. So I'm going to have to put an angle bracket back up to the frame a little further out, so that give me a triangle support instead of just a straight up and down support. And we'll go from there on that and see how that works. So I am going to have to support those back wheels for when they go from flat on all four and tipped up to all two. Those bottom wheels are going to be taking a lot of that weight straight down as I come up and I'm pushing down. So we don't want those wheels to buckle up. So buckle under. So I am going to have to support that. Anyway, any thoughts like that about this, about changing it a little bit, let me know. But I think that thing is going to work out real well. A little bigger than I like, but unfortunately, that's what I need almost. Anyway, size-wise. So we'll see. We'll see how small I can build that cabinet and still have it fit on there, and see how that works out. And then we'll go from there. So I want to thank you for coming by. You've been very, very patient if you stayed here this long. If you learned something here, or you like this video, hit that like button. Lets me know that I did something right. Most importantly, though, please come back again, because we're nowhere near done. Thanks. We'll see you guys again very soon.